Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crash Zoom. I'm Sammie Purcell, Associate Editor with Rough Draft Atlanta, and I'm here as always with my co-host, indie filmmaker Aaron Strand. How you doing today, Aaron?
I'm doing pretty good today, Sammie. I'm doing pretty good. My feature film Withdrawal just won a little award last night at the Atlanta Underground Film Festival. Best local feature. We're officially a local feature. No, it was very lovely. Love the Atlanta Underground Film Festival. Been going strong for like 2 decades, I think. We're getting close to
Something
2
like
decades.
that.
And it was also right down the street from my house. Can't complain about that. And of course, very grateful to win the award. So that was a fun little thing happening in Aaron's personal film world.
I mean, that's hyper local, right down the street. You know, they got it right.
Yeah, I don't think they realized just how local this film was.
Oh, that's so exciting! I'm happy everything's been going well on that what are they called? Film festival tour. That's what they're called. There you go. It's not a show if I don't have to search for a word, you know? Well, if this is your first episode of Crash Zoom, welcome. Thank you for listening. What Aaron and I like to do here is we talk about what's going on in the film industry as a whole, a big picture level, and try to talk about why that matters to the independent artist or the independent filmmaker. But before we kind of dive in today's episode, we have a bit of a sad announcement, bittersweet, I'd say. So coming up in the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing our last episode of Crash Zoom. Sad, but yeah. I guess I don't know if you want to kind of get into it. The numbers haven't crunched perhaps the way we wanted to, but we've had a lot of fun while they weren't crunching. But yeah.
Yeah, I love how you were just like, we're winding down the show, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's super bittersweet. You know, look, Sammie and I started this show about 9 months ago, and for with certain sort of listener goals in mind. As much as we love doing this podcast, and we really do, there is a certain number that you kind of need to hit before a podcast can begin to transition towards some semblance of profitability. And for both Sammie and I, who are working artists, you know, we find ourselves in positions where we're working, you know, like multiple unpaid jobs all at the same time. And as much joy as we get from these shows, we are also like trying to move towards sustainability, which is like ultimately the goal. And the crazy thing about podcasting is that like you really need to be heading towards a sort of 50,000 downloads a month kind of number in order to have a profitable show, or to be, at the very least, to like be able to just make a little bit of money to put in, so that you can keep putting in all the effort that we put into the research, the production, the social media clips or whatever. And so within this first year, there was sort of a benchmark number that we wanted to try to hit. And unfortunately we just didn't hit that number. Now, all that to say is that I think I can speak for myself, but hopefully for both of us, in just saying how proud I am of all the work that we've done on this show. Sammie and I have also got to become like real friends through making this show.
Yay.
And I am so like grateful for that experience, and just getting to know Sammie and like having somebody to talk about all this stuff with has been a joy for my life.
Yes. It's been so nice. I mean, I echo everything that you just said. I mean, it's been really great to have a friend who I can kind of talk to this stuff about, which is like, you know, it is a lot of work, and I completely like agree with you when like at some point to make this show profitable, it's just we're not hitting those numbers. But that being said, it has been like a ton of fun over the past 9 months, just gabbing about AI, about Zaz, your number one boy, about movies. It's been great. It's been great.
Absolutely. So I'm sure we'll have more opportunities for Crash Zoom eulogies throughout the rest of the month. But for now, I think just buckle up, because we're going to unload the clip and try to fire off our
God.
spiciest takes. Um, and yeah, and we'll just have fun talking about this stuff that both Sammie and I love, and that I have no doubt we will continue to talk about off mic
Yeah.
in the
You guys
future.
won't get to listen, but that's fine. Oh, all right. Well, let's dive into one of our favorite topics, which is I guess, at this point.
Of
But
course.
this this is a Wall Street Journal article from earlier this month. So it came out August 3rd, and it's titled, Is It There we go. Sorry. I could not read that for a second. It's really bad when you look at this Wall Street Journal article. Sorry, just side note. Like the graphic behind the white text, not easy to read, guys. Just like a programming
Indecipherable.
note. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Just like be aware, you know.
yeah.
But anyway, this is titled, Is It Still Disney Magic If It's AI? So this is by Jessica Tooncolt, which is a very funny name to be, kind of poignant name to be talking about Disney. Makes me laugh, Toon.
Do you think she was
And
assigned
Eric,
this article because of her last name,
based on her last
or
name.
did she just feel a calling to the
Right.
cartoon stories?
I love it. Jessica Toonkel, and Eric Schwartzel as well. And I guess sort of as a from a broad strokes point of view, it's kind of an explainer of why perhaps Disney's approach to AI is the way that it is. That is to say, perhaps with maybe like a little bit less gusto than some of these other studios. Like even in the article itself, it talks about, Lionsgate, we talked about this, announced a licensing deal with Runway in exchange for like a custom built AI model that it could use for production. Even like A24 has used like Runway's AI. Like a lot of other studios are much more gung ho than Disney has been. And a lot of that has to do with ownership and sort of basically ownership of these characters is kind of like the thing that it comes down to for Disney. As we all know, they sued Midjourney back in June. I don't believe, as of this recording, Midjourney has yet responded to that copyright lawsuit. But yeah, and that's going to be kind of a big copyright, I guess, tentpole moving forward. Tentpole when we're talking about Disney. So it'll be interesting to see how that sort of unfolds. But yeah, I'll stop there, I guess, just for now. Aaron, what do you think about this article?
Yeah, I think so. It's really sort of explores that Disney has this, almost a 100-year legacy
Right.
of viciously and aggressively protecting its IP. That has
Hmm.
worked so well for the company for 100 years. You know. Attacking anybody that tries to recreate their precious characters. They have been so protective of their IP that it's taken years and years of internal battles just to have Cinderella and Belle from Beauty and the Beast appear on the same lunchbox. And when
Literally.
they
And they
appear
still
on
have
the
to
same,
look different ways.
yeah, they can't look at
That
each
was
other.
fascinating.
They have to look in different directions so that conceivably
Hmm.
they're still within their own protected universe. And what
Wild.
does a company that has so viciously protected its IP do when this incoming technological revolution requires that you feed endless amounts of IP into a black box? And
Hmm.
what happens to it? And that Disney is really caught into this problem of how do we incorporate AI into the filmmaking process while simultaneously protecting ourselves from it? Um, which is an incredible question to ask, and it really makes you wonder how Disney is going to function and what role will they play. It's certainly interesting that they seem to. It's really that Disney lawsuit, and obviously we should mention that they're doing it with Comcast, Universal, NBC
Hmm.
Universal. But Disney is really that is really the only legal steps forward that are being taken towards protect copyright, where everything else
Hmm.
is sort of being going on the fair use. President Trump's action plan, sort of getting rid of all the barriers and all the protections that artists have had in this country to feed the AI machine. And Disney is the only
Hmm.
one who's sort of protecting it. But in order to, the first thing that popped into my head when I thought about this story, Sammie, is are you an Encanto fan?
Um, yeah, I would say. I mean, I like the songs. I saw it. Yeah, it's great. I'm not like a fan. I don't know what that means. Like,
Well, no, I mean, do you love
do I like
Encanto?
Encanto? Yeah, I like Encanto.
Okay, do you remember the core story of Encanto?
Yes, it's a girl who is in a magical family who doesn't have magic, and she's dealing with that.
Yes, this is
Mhm.
true. This is true. Now, just to expand a little bit, if you haven't seen Encanto, Encanto is about this, yes, a magical family, the family Madrigal, who every
Mhm.
member of the family has magical gifts. And their magical gifts all come from this magical candle that was given to the family after the grandfather of the family sacrificed himself so that the family could escape Colombia during a violent uprising.
Right.
And so all their magic flows from this magical candle, and then the house is like sentient and magical.
Mhm.
Casita, as you may know her. Um, uh, but the core problem of this family is that in their pursuit for external perfection, they have neglected their internal needs. And they needed the outsider of the family, the young daughter, Mirabelle, to heal the
Mhm.
cracks within the structure and save the magic. And I couldn't help but see the parallels between the family
Wow.
Madrigal and Disney, the corporation. Do you see where I'm going with
Mhm.
this?
Yeah, yeah, but keep going. I like this. I like this analogy.
So one of the surprise antagonist of Encanto is in fact Abuela Alma.
Mhm.
She's the grandmother, the matriarch of the family, and she is so protective of this magic, and she forces everyone into sort of this world of external perfection. But she's actually forcing everyone to neglect their inner needs. And so these cracks have formed within the casita. And it's going to take an outsider to heal those cracks. And so when I think about Disney and the surviving the AI onslaught that is stealing the magic, who is Mirabelle and who will save the casita?
Well, I think I know who Mirabelle is, but I'm
Who's
interested in who you think will save it. Bob Iger. No?
No, I think Bob Iger is Abuela Alma.
Yeah, that's what I said. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I you said Mirabelle, but I was thinking Abuela. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Bob Iger's definitely Abuela.
Yes,
He's an
yes, yes. He's
Abuela if I've
Abuela.
ever seen it. But who is
Yes.
Mirabelle? Because right now, we've got you got our three main successors to Bob Iger in 2026: Dana
Mhm.
Walden, Alan Bergman, Josh D'Amaro. I'm not seeing Mirabelle in any of these
None of these
characters.
guys scream Mirabelle to me, I'll
They
say.
they all still have the sort of like the magic touch. They've all been given their gifts. To keep
Mhm.
it in Kanto. Um, Gosh, who's Mirabelle's sister, the one with all the flowers?
Isabella. Isabella, right?
Yeah, Isabella is the one with the
And
flowers,
Louise
and
is
then
the big strong one. Yeah.
Luis is the strong one. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe I think Dana Walden's probably Isabella here.
The
She's
one
the
with all the
golden
flowers.
child. I don't know if Alan. I don't really know Alan Bergman or Josh
Is
D'Amaro
anyone
enough
buff enough to be Louisa
to
is the
be
question.
Louisa. Um, Maybe Josh D'Amaro. Well, I'd actually no. I think Josh D'Amaro,
He's the one.
he's the parks and live
Yes. Well,
entertainment
he's the
guy.
one kind of who's supposed to be, like, heading up the Fortnite thing, correct?
Right. He is the one who's really
Right.
pushing Disney into this interactive game space, which is really again putting a lot of pressure on their IP protection because all of a sudden they want to
Right.
put Darth Vader in Fortnite, and Fortnite
And Darth
users can
Vader's
make him say
cousin.
fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm kinda
uh,
like, he's evil, but okay, I get it, I guess. Like, I don't know why that would be such a problem, but
so yeah, I would definitely say Josh D'Amaro's Louisa. But all that to say is that I don't think any of these people are going to save the casita, and we're gonna really need to heal some internal wounds and some internal fissures within Disney for the Mouse House to get right again. How are you feeling about my Encanto parallel?
I think it's really good. I wonder, like, on the one hand, I'm like, it is really great to have at least one of these guys, like, not completely, like, bowing out to the AI machine and the Silicon Valley machine, and, like, whatever their, like, motivations for thinking, like, strategically about it, like, they are, like, I guess, like, trying to figure out where Disney sort of fits into this new technology, I guess. And one of those that really, this article has, like, a funny little kicker where it talks about the movie Here with Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, which I guess was sort of like one of their like, well, what if we got like Tom Hanks talking about AI? Like it's America's dad. Like, come on, everyone will trust Tom Hanks. But the problem is like no one saw that movie. So like it is my job to see movies and I didn't see that movie. So, it's still on the list. I'll get to
Wow.
it eventually.
That's
But
a
like
damning
so
indictment.
I'm just like, and like it's, I know there's some critics out there who love it. I will get to it eventually. But, you know, so
What critics
I
love
think like
here?
Sean, do you listen to the Big Picture? Sean Fennessy has a soft
Sean
spot
Fennessy
for
loves
it.
it?
Yeah. I
Sean
don't know if
Fennessy
I
has
would,
some
I don't want to
wild
put words in
takes.
his mouth, but he has a soft spot for it, I'll say.
Okay.
I think
All
that's
right.
fair to say. If that's unfair, Sean, let me know. But so, I think like they kind of have it's like also a question of relevance in like a weird way. Like I don't know how I guess Disney will always have relevance, I guess. And that's like one of the quotes in here. I think it's what's his name? It's gonna bother me. Horatio Gutierrez, who's like the company's legal chief, has that quote like, we've been around for 100 years and we intend to be around for the next 100 years. AI will be transformative, but it doesn't need to be lawless. And that's an interesting quote, I think, in comparison with like something that is said in something that we will talk about later, something that Seth MacFarlane says in the kind of Matt Bellany on the Town interview. But I think like maybe there needs to be like a little less like pussyfooting around it, and like perhaps like getting Tom Hanks to like talk about it is like smart in theory, but like nobody's watching talk shows and also nobody saw that movie. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not like an AI expert. And I think anyone who listens to the show knows that I am perhaps a little AI phobic. But like, I don't know. I think they are definitely, if we're talking about the race, as it were, like, again, they are definitely being like the more hesitant, I guess. I don't know. Does that make any sense what I just said? I'm really like
I think it made some sense. It made some sense. I
yeah,
would say, look, I think the really interesting thing, and we just don't know how this is going to play out.
right.
Right now, Disney is they feel a little clunky, they feel a little dusty. Their
Yeah.
all their big IP acquisitions of the last 10 years that shot the stock price up to the moon with Marvel and Lucasfilm and all those sorts of things haven't really panned out in the way that they had hoped. They are not coming up with new original stories and movies that are really drawing people into theaters in the way that they once did. They're over reliant on the sequel machine. So they're feeling a little clunky right now. They're not feeling super cutting edge. And here you have this AI situation where they're really dragging their feet out of a defensive position of
Right.
their intellectual property. But what's interesting to see, and we just don't know going forward, is that defensive position actually going to be the cutting edge of IP protection, or is it going to
Right.
be the trailing edge of IP innovation? And it could really go either way.
Well, I think like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this I know that lawsuits like drag their feet, but like it's not like the copyright lawsuits have been really going in like any plaintiff's favor, right? In any of these lawsuits thus far. Like we talked about the Sarah Silverman one. I mean, we talked about the Sarah Silverman one. I can't remember what company it was with. And we talked about the Anthropic one as well. And like none of these have gone towards the creators or like the people who own the IP in question or whatever, in any meaningful way. But Disney and like by extension Universal, that's like a whole different sort of ball game, right? Like Disney, for as like clunky and old fashioned as they might feel, and I too often feel clunky and old fashioned, so I can relate. But like as they are still like King Hollywood, at least in some sort of like surface level way or like kind of legendary way in a lot of ways, right? So like that is like a whole different ball game, I think, in terms of like them deciding to take on an AI company like this. I don't know if it'll be successful, but I think they have a better chance than most.
Well, what's shaping up, and this maybe will transition us into the next story, is that I think we're
Hmm.
really seeing a massive rivalry, a budding rivalry between Disney taking this one approach to protecting their intellectual property and being sort of at the forefront of AI limitations, and what's
Mhm.
happening over at the new Ellison-run Paramount and what they're going to be doing with AI going forward to sort of revamp their company.
Yeah, that does lead us to our next story, which is just basically talking about the Paramount leadership shakeup, sort of in the wake of this merger. So I originally saw this on the Daily's newsletter, and they linked to a story in Variety. The story in Variety is essentially just like a long list of names and old positions and new positions, but essentially, kind of as a boilerplate, only one current exec, I believe, is going to stay on. That's per the dailies. So coming
George
in,
Cheeks.
yes, George Cheeks, great name. So coming in, we'll have Netflix veteran Cindy Holland. She's going to take over streaming, which I think is that says something to me. Skydance's Dana Goldberg is going to co-chair the film studio and oversee the revived kind of Paramount TV Studios label that they have. Former NBC Universal chief Jeff Shell is going to become the president. And then the Ellison family is basically going to control the 5 board seats that they have, partnered with Redbird Capital's 4. So Redbird Capital, they're basically the company that teamed up with Skydance to help them buy Paramount. So just some background there. And Andy Gordon, who leads the West Coast office of Redbird, he's going to take over the role of chief operating officer and chief strategic officer. And then, like I said, this whole article is like basically naming new people, so I won't name all of them. But what do you make
Just
of all this?
naming some guys.
Right, naming some
Naming some
guys and some
guys.
gals, but
Yeah, and some guys. They've got
um,
their Dana. Every big media company needs a Dana and a
has a
C-suite.
Dana, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what do you make of all this?
Well, I mean, I make a lot of things of it. Let's start with what sort of that you wanted to talk about Cindy Holland. What do you think about Cindy Holland being brought in? She was the former head of programming over at Netflix. She was responsible for a lot of Netflix's early, more prestige-driven shows. We're now sort of under the Bella Bajaria regime, where things have gone in a little
Mhm.
bit of a different direction. But what do you think about old Cindy Holland coming over here to head Paramount Plus?
Well, I think that like signals to me like a creative reboot, basically, as far as what they're doing. Like you're right, she did kind of lead. It's more like Netflix's more prestige era. Um, and I would say that Paramount Plus as a streaming service has not been the most prestige streaming service out of all of the ones that I could name.
What?
So I think it just well, you think so? You think it is?
Oh,
But
I just feel classy when I click on that tile.
I was like, the only thing I really watch on Paramount are Mission Impossible movies and Survivor. So
That is
yeah,
the most Sammy thing ever said on this show.
thank you. But that signals to me, and I guess you can say what you think about this, that they are going to revamp that streaming service, I'd say, or at least leaning towards that. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's sort of interesting because on the one hand, they're promising that they're going to cut $2 billion from Paramount's budget and they're going to do it really fast.
Hmm.
At the same time, like you bring on a Cindy Holland, which makes you think that like we're looking to buy and we're looking to buy,
Right.
we're looking to compete
Cool
with
stuff.
with
Yeah.
HBO and Apple for sort of like the dope stuff, and Netflix too.
Hmm.
Netflix is always a player. I shouldn't totally discount them. So
Right.
I don't know. It's a little strange. I wonder how much. I wonder how much. I just wonder what Cindy Holland's budget is that she's working with, and we don't really know that yet.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about here is the Redbird Capital side. Redbird Capital and their legacy of influence within media tells me more about the directions that Paramount is going to go in than the Ellisons. I think what the Ellisons bring, obviously, is endless capital, and
Right.
you can be assured that everything they're going to be doing is going to be trying to incorporate AI and their massive data centers and all this sort of technological stuff that they have at their disposal into Paramount's workflow. I think Paramount will become the forerunner of AI incorporation at the studio level. They are going to go all in because the Ellisons have gone all in. And look, Larry Ellison, the who's now the second largest shareholder within Paramount, David Ellison's dad, second richest man in the world. He made one of the all-time business gambles about 3 or 4 years ago, where he leveraged all this capital from Oracle, his company, and he saw the vision for the data center capabilities that is going to be required to fuel this AI revolution. He went all in with leveraging billions upon billions of dollars of his business, and their capex like exploded to levels that many people within the company thought were unsustainable. It has paid off in ways that nobody could fathom, and now Oracle is one of, I mean, it was always a major player, but now it's like one of the most valuable companies in the world, and he's the second richest man in the world. So we're talking like, just endless amounts of cash that they could pump into this thing, and the technological resources that nobody else in Hollywood has. And they are, I think they are going to utilize it. But getting back to Redbird Capital, what the fuck is Redbird Capital? We don't know. Does anybody know anything about this? Well, Redbird Capital is really all the brainchild of one guy, this guy named, and I don't know if he pronounces it Cardinale or
Cardinal.
Or I'm going to call it, I think it's more fun if we call him Jerry Cardinale.
Okay.
I could not get a confirmation on pronunciation there, but Jerry Cardinale, he's a sort of investment guy, went to Wharton, started on Wall Street, but he made his transition into media because he sold, as a consultant, he sold the New York Yankees in starting the Yankee Regional Sports Network, the YES Network. And after only a $350 million investment in the YES Network, they were able to sort of 3x their return on that, just on pure revenue from that network. And it grew into sort of the overall Yankees portfolio. He has since gone on to have this incredible sort of sports media empire. Redbird Capital owns stakes in AC Milan, Fenway Sports Club, the controlling group that runs the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool FC, the New England Sports Network, a regional sports network that serves New England, Spring Hill Entertainment, LeBron James's production company, Artists Equity, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's production company. They bought the production company behind Fleabag. They bought the production company that is behind Squid Game: The Challenge, and they own The Telegraph and The Spectator in the UK. So they have just slowly been growing this massive portfolio. And what they have done, like their overall guiding philosophy is that Cardinale is incredibly good at identifying the IP that you have, even if it's just like a storied sports team, right? That's your IP. And then using formats and technologies to moat that IP and then maximize value from it. That's what the YES Network was all about. Like, how do we maximize? Why are the Yankees licensing their games to other people when they have such a large fan base that they can start their own network and we could get the fees, the carriage fees directly from the cable providers? And so I think that when we look at the future of Paramount, the Redbird element is really going to be a guiding, is really going to guide their philosophy, because a lot of those people that you named who are coming in, Andy Gordon, who you already mentioned, CEO,
Redbird
Chief
guy,
Strategic Officer, he's a Redbird lieutenant, and Jeff Shell, the former NBC Universal guy, he's been at Redbird for the past couple years. So I think this Redbird IP identification, using technology to cut costs and then really promote that IP as hard as possible, is going to be the Paramount playbook going forward. And with that in mind, Sammie, I have 5 crazy predictions.
I'm so excited for this
stuff Paramount is going to be doing in the future. Okay. Are
Aaron
you ready?
texted me about this earlier with a little, like that little kind of like cheeky emoji guy, like little sly face.
It was a smirk emoji.
There you go. I like cheeky better.
All right, these are my 5 craziest predictions for what Paramount is going to do within the next, we'll say 18 months, okay? Okay, crazy prediction number 1. One of their best movie pieces of IP, of course, is James Cameron's Titanic, okay? Oh, yeah. We're going to get Titanic at the Sphere. We're going to get an AI reimagining of James Cameron's Titanic at the Sphere It's gonna be a full immersive experience. You're gonna be right there on the bow of the boat with Leo and Kate. You're king of the world too. What do you think? Titanic at the Sphere. You going?
I have no. And I have one reason why I don't think that's going to happen. Here's my one reason. Um, they're doing this with the Wizard of Oz, right? Which
Correct.
is so crazy. Anyway, so they're using AI to like basically extend like the universe, like the camera shots of the Wizard of Oz. What they are also doing is cutting out like I think they're making it like 75 minutes long so they can sell more showings throughout the day. So they're cutting out like a good chunk of the movie. Titanic is 3 hours and 15 minutes long. That's my only like you got to cut out a lot to like get that many like
No,
showings in.
no. They're not cutting a frame. If anything, they're gonna add
If they
15
cut the
minutes.
Wizard of Oz, they're gonna cut Titanic.
No. They're gonna 5x the ticket premium to see Titanic at the Sphere, and it's gonna be
'Cause I
an
do think
all-day event.
Oh my god. I do think like I James Cameron might be all in. He's like I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth either, but he seems pretty technology
They
friendly.
could
But
partner
as
with
my one
because James Cameron's a runway guy, right? Like they could
yeah,
partner with Runway
I
to.
think so. He's on some board. I can't remember what it is. But I'd have to look that up, but I can do that while you're talking. But as my one thing is they cannot maximize the return on investment with Titanic. They
No.
have to cut so
James
much.
No, James won't let them cut a frame, but they'll get the Sphere to agree.
You're right. I
And
guess the directors and producers behind The Wizard of Oz are dead. They can't say
yeah,
anything
they can't
about
fight. Yeah, they can't say
it.
anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just get ready. Go ahead and reserve your flights to Vegas so you can see Titanic at the Sphere. It'll be great. Okay, number 2, another great piece of Paramount IP that I think they're gonna encircle and elevate. I think we're gonna get new Star Trek. I think we're gonna get new Star Trek on Paramount Plus. I would imagine that they would probably go the show route rather than the
Mm,
movies because the
yeah.
movies haven't been going so great lately. But I think the new twist is that they're going to use not only AI VFX, but I think we're talking resurrecting old characters with deepfakes onto the new
Mm.
Star Trek. Kirk is back, Picard is back, Data's back. Star Trek
Ugh.
with deepfakes. How you feeling?
I mean, isn't Alien a Paramount property? Did I make that up? Or at least the new one, Romulus?
Is it?
Because they already did that. That's the truth.
It's a
Mm.
it's a 20th Century Fox.
20th century. Okay, never mind. It's just on
Yeah.
Paramount Plus. They must have streaming rights. But well, that wouldn't surprise me. I don't have any that might come true. And I would think it would definitely lean show route, I would guess. But
Yeah.
I mean it's
So
been like 10 years, right? Since those
yeah.
like last reboot movies.
Yeah, new Star Trek coming to Paramount Plus soon. Okay, moving on. My third craziest prediction for new Paramount in the future: we're gonna get a new Godfather trilogy. Is Denis Villeneuve available? Can we get him out of his Bond contract to come over and relaunch Godfather for the next century? What do you say?
You think Francis is going to go for that?
I don't think Francis has control
Oh,
over
he
the
might not.
Godfather.
Oh, wow.
Francis was a hired gun on that bad boy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Do
It's
you
a
think
Paramount property. I mean,
that
look,
is
I don't know the exact legal. Like, I'm talking out of my ass here a little bit.
I
But
don't know. He
but
does not own the copyright. You're right. It is Paramount.
or
I
maybe
don't know about that one.
maybe Sammy. This is like coming off of my Miami
Off the
Vice
dome.
revelation. Michael Mann does the new Godfather trilogy.
I don't
Michael
know. You
Mann's
know, I do.
Godfather.
You know, I would be interested in seeing what that looks like. But
Right? Right. You're interested. You're interested.
yes,
You're
I'm
interested in
interested.
Michael Mann's Godfather.
But I do think, and I mean, maybe I am a little naive in saying this, The Godfather feels like something that it might take a while. I feel like they did that show about like the making of it or whatever, and no one fucking cared. Like, you know, so I don't know if like it's gonna,
Yeah, because
I don't
nobody
know. And
cares
it's kind of
wants to
precious, right?
nobody wants to see
Nothing's
someone
precious, but
dressed up like Francis Ford Coppola, like, like tootling around in 70s garb. All that 70s like idolization content was all flopped. That's all
I
bullshit because
agree.
boomers don't watch it.
Sure, but what I mostly mean is, like, and I'll probably, like, eat my words in a year when they announce they're remaking The Godfather, but, like, that feels like the one thing that's a little precious. You know what
No,
I
no, no,
mean?
not remaking, not remaking. We're talking Corleone family in the 21st century. It's going to be a 21st century crime story. It's going to be more diverse, and
Uh-huh.
it's going to be about the Corleones. Like the grandson, the second grandson, whatever. Evolving into sort of the world of 21st century crime. They're going to be like fucking doing crypto shit and dumb stuff, and people are gonna fucking love it because the Godfather IP or whatever you could call it has been handled quite well, but people still fuck with the Godfather so hard
Yeah, but
among
they
the male
fuck with it in a
demographic.
way where they're like, "No one even tried to touch this," you know?
Nothing is sacred in Hollywood, Sammy. They run
I
Star
know,
Wars
but
into
I
the
just
ground.
yeah, but, like, I don't know. Something about The Godfather, and again, I will probably eat my words, something about The Godfather feels a little, people are a little precious about it.
It's
No one's precious
unfortunate.
about Star Wars anymore.
It's unfortunate that we're winding the show down because when Michael Mann announces his new Godfather trilogy, I will simply just have to text you with a laugh emoji this time. No smirk emojis. Now it will be cry laugh emojis. Because this might be my best take.
I think the one that I'm most high on right now is the Star Trek one. And I also wanna add, James Cameron is on the board of Stability AI.
Stability. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. Thank you. Okay. All right. So crazy prediction number 4. I do think Paramount is going to jump in to competing with Disney, YouTube, and Netflix for kids viewers. Warner Brothers has bowed out of this
Mhm.
battle. Universal has kind of bowed out in the streaming sense. But I think Paramount is going to fight because they still have Nickelodeon and they have all the Nickelodeon IP. So what I think is going to happen is Nickelodeon, whether or not Paramount divests from their cable assets and does like the Spinco thing, that's sort of yet to be determined. A lot of people think that like they might not do that. They might not go the Universal and WBD route in that regard. But regardless of whatever they do with their cable assets, I do think Nickelodeon is going to be rolled into the Paramount Plus universe in a more active way. And I
Mhm.
would imagine that they're going to be reviving some 90s IP classics. I think we're looking at potentially new SpongeBob. I think we're looking at
Mm.
potentially new Blues Clues. Those are the first 2 titles from sort of like that famous Nickelodeon canon that I think would be exploitable. And they're going to try to target the elder millennial parent demographic as giving them something comfortable and familiar that they grew up with as kids that they can show to their kids.
Yes. That feels like definitely feasible to me. They'll have to do better than they did with that Dora. I guess they're already doing this. They like made Dora into Indiana Jones, didn't they? Like,
Did they?
oh yeah. Dora and the Search for Sol Dorado. It came out literally this year.
It's a
Sorry.
movie?
Yeah. Um Released simultaneously on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon to generally positive reviews on July 2nd, 2025. I had no idea this came out this year. I would have said like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 1 month ago. 1 month ago. I
Wow.
mean, the world moves fast these days.
Yeah, but I guess, they're already kind of doing that, so I can see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely think we're going to see more focus on Nickelodeon and trying to moat that type of stuff
Mhm.
in their little world. And last but not least, crazy prediction number 5 for what Paramount is going to do going forward. I think that Paramount is going to try. This is going to be their creative wild card. I think Paramount is going to try to bring back the war genre. I think
Okay.
Paramount has, in terms of films, they have classic war films such as Apocalypse Now, Saving Private Ryan. This is all Paramount IP. Now, I'm not saying they're going to like reboot those IP universes exactly, but I think they're going to start looking to build upon the, older white demographic that they've got with CBS and Taylor Sheridan and this sort of propaganda tainment, American propaganda tainment. And they're going to lean back into the war genre, which is a really, that's like been a staple genre of American film in decades past. And it's probably I would say it's at an all-time low in terms of the number
there's
of
been like
movies and stories getting made. Yeah, like the Alex Garland movie Warfare
Civil
came out.
War did really well, I think, too. Yeah. Did pretty well at the box office, but that movie is weirdly more of a journalism movie if you actually get down to it. But anyway.
It was also like total lib baiting, which was a weird choice for a war movie, but I don't think they're going to go that route. I think they're looking for traditional conservative viewership. They're going to look for sort of like, how do we bring some John Wayne energy like back into modern American entertainment? Paramount has done it in the past, and I think they are going to try to do it in the future and use all their AI for any sort of VFX to cut down costs.
Oh yeah, they're not going to be filming these. No storming the beaches of Normandy and Saving Private Ryan for them.
Yeah. Maybe a lot more like Vietnam stories or like Korean stories. Like, I don't know, stuff that appeals more to like
Vietnam is a hard one to make people feel patriotic about, I think.
Yeah, but if you can tap into the nostalgia that people felt for like their conflicts about the war, I don't know. I think there's like some untread territory that has an audience that is interested in it. And I get there's little attempts to be made at this. I mean, Da 5 Bloods was like trying to do this, like Spike Lee's attempt. That movie was absolute garbage, but but I think that,
I like that movie.
Really, you like that movie?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's wow.
This happens all the time, Aaron. You say movie shit, and I'm like, yikes! I like that.
I literally found it unwatchable.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I had a great time.
Well,
I think Delroy was on my like short list for supporting that year, which I make for myself.
Oh, the performances
because I'm a nerd. But
I think the performances were all good. I just found Lee's story to be incomprehensible gobbledygook that was so poorly structured and uncompelling.
Yeah, I don't remember feeling that way.
Well, agree to disagree here. But I think we're getting more particularly sort of like white-coated war propaganda from Paramount.
Well, Warfare came out earlier this year, but I wouldn't say I think it's very difficult to make a war movie that isn't glorifying in some ways, but I would say, having listened to the guy who made it talk about it, who was like the military advisor on Civil War, so like Alex Garland also had a hand in that one.
Yeah.
It's definitely not, it doesn't make war look fun, I'll say.
No. No. Those are still like the sort of like left-leaning critiques of war and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
No. We're trying to quote unquote go back to the glory days. I think that's those are my 5 crazy predictions. Sammie, what do you think?
I think the Star Trek one and the Nickelodeon ones are the ones I'm sort of most high on, I'll say. But watch all of them. Watch Titanic go to the fucking sphere, I swear to God.
Let's just say I won't give you my Titanic sphere ticket when I score one.
I don't want to see it. I want to watch, I don't know. This is when I told you I feel old and like uncool because I'm like, I don't care about extending the scenes to The Wizard of Oz or Titanic. I don't give a shit.
Well, I just think you're not. I
don't care about
fan.
Smoothing Judy Garland's face for some weird
but
reason.
It's so rough.
Like, yeah. I was so annoying.
Unwatchable.
Anyway.
It's unwatchable. It needs to be smoothed and extended. In fact, I only want the extended sphere cut going forward.
They're like, look, Uncle Henry is like, he wasn't in this scene, but he had to walk in the door, so he's just standing over there. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Like, who cares? Like, that's not that cool. I'm sorry.
I think it's dope.
Not that cool.
I don't think you understand cinema. I don't think you understand real cinema.
Thank you. Okay. Well, let's move on to someone who does understand real cinema, Seth MacFarlane.
Oh
So,
God.
so this is from this episode of The Town came out a while ago. So this is an interview around the release of The Naked Gun, which came out like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I think, something like that.
Yep.
Which I think is doing okay. It's made like 33 million domestic as of
It's
today,
made
I
its money
think.
back.
Yeah, it's made its money back. It's doing all right. Good reviews. But this interview, so Seth MacFarlane produced that film. So he's basically on The Town talking with Matt Bellany about why it's harder to get comedies greenlit nowadays. So they talk The Naked Gun. They talk a lot about Family Guy. Talk a little bit about South Park too, and sort of the lack of mainstream comedies in theaters lately and why that is. We can dive in to some of what they say, but I'll just start there. What did you think of this interview?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting interview. I'm not a Seth MacFarlane guy. I don't
Right.
like
Me neither,
anything
really.
that he
But I do respect
makes.
some stuff, I respect his game.
I mean, he's been wildly successful, and
Yeah.
has been able to leverage his success in new ways. And one thing I've always, I do appreciate that he's been able to sort of build. Again, I hate to keep I've used the word IP so much on this episode, but he's been able to build this kind of like IP empire. And what's cool is that he brings on people that he trusts to like run these things, and then he like sort of steps away and is able to kind of like stay nimble and creative and
Right.
like always looking for the next challenge in that way, which I think is really really cool and admirable. And it
Mhm.
takes while it takes a certain ego to kind of like build an IP empire, it also takes a certain humility to like consistently hand it over to others that are talented and like deserve opportunities.
Right. It was interesting to me when he talked about like he is barely like involved in Family Guy anymore besides the voices. Like he just comes in and does voices and leaves, which I thought was like, "Oh, interesting." Um but what did you think about sort of his kind of ideas about why comedies, I guess, don't kind of hit the mainstream in theaters anymore? Because I've had thoughts about this for a while. And their kind of conversation was a lot about like, that's not where people go to get their comedy anymore. It's like kind of internet based, meme based. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, he's
Right.
right that we lose out on the communal experience of enjoying comedy together, be it either everyone watches the episode of Seinfeld at the same time and then talks about it the
Hmm.
next day, or just that theatrical experience of being in a theater full of people and laughing. I mean, the contagious amplifying effect of being in a crowd and seeing something that everyone finds funny is incredible. I know
Hmm.
I've talked about
It's
this
great.
before, but the last time I went to a genuine comedy in the theater and got to have that experience was for Kevin Hart's Night School. And in that,
Yeah.
and I still hold Night School in such high regard because it gave me the experience of laughing in a theater full of people. Of
Hmm.
course, I think back to like when I was a kid and seeing like Team America World Police or Anchorman. I mean, it's just like people were like
Right.
literally rolling on the floor laughing, not just like raffle, which which is the kind of experience that I think is really missed out on now. So can movies do that? Can movies fill the void? Will people show up? Doesn't seem like it, but
Mm,
one
yeah.
can hope.
I mean, I guess people are slightly showing up for Naked Gun, but that is also, to use that word again, existing IP. Um, I think, I also think, and they didn't really talk about this, and I am not the first person to say this, but I think like also Marvel and that brand of like superhero movie also kind of like filled like they're so quippy and there's so much like comedy and like back and forth and like it when it became such a big thing kind of throughout the 2010s that also like filled the comedy spot in a while like those movies became such like really one of the only like monoculture events that we had and they like filled that void a little bit as well which I think like I mean you could argue that like Marvel kind of what's the word oh my god contributed to all of like other movies kind of starting to go out of fashion like the mid-budget adult drama or whatever you want to say but I do think like those movies like are comedies for a lot of people, like who just go to see them,
Yeah, sure. They
Maybe not
deliver.
so
Yeah,
much anymore, but
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've got comedies on TV who like become
Hmm.
dramas because they're chasing awards, and the only way to win a
Well, they
comedy
talked about that
award
too. It made me think
is
of The
to.
Bear. I was like,
Yeah,
The Bear's
totally.
always in comedy. Like I
Yeah,
cry
but
during those
why?
episodes
Yeah, but
sometimes.
why? Yeah, why? Why? You don't have
Yeah.
you don't have there's not a world where it's like you have dramas that just take themselves super seriously and don't try to make meta commentary upon themselves, and you don't have a world where you have
Hmm.
straight joke based films anymore. Everything's become this sort of hybrid mashup, and it probably is mostly to do with the fact that we get most of our entertainment online, where like there is no genre, everything is mashed together, and we see it across the board in music, where we have just like country and rap have submerged into some sort of weird like new electronic thing that no one that people are fighting about, what's the difference between the two, and pop and
Hmm.
hip hop, and there is no genre sort of delineation anymore, where it used to be that like people wore jackets, that identified themselves as they only listened to a certain genre of music, and they'd punch you in the face if you didn't listen to it. So
Right.
it's just the social signifiers and the social currency of these type of things have just totally lost all meaning with the internet. And what I mean, while I don't think they talked on the show that it's like, well, all Seth Rogen said this earlier on the town,
Yeah.
that all it takes is one hit, and then we're back, baby, we're back. I don't really know. I mean, Naked
Yeah.
Gun ain't it. Naked Gun made its money back.
No,
It's
it is
respectable.
very fun. Everyone go
I
see it if you're listening. It's fun.
I
Yeah.
would like to see it. It looks super
Hmm.
fun, but I'm also not like raring to go to the theater
Right.
to see it before it leaves. And I don't know. These things are always cyclical, and culture changes in ways that are hard to predict. So I can't imagine that the currency look it is. I mean, my overall theory about or perspective on the theatrical experience in general is that like there will always be inherent value in getting together with other people and watching something together. It's an amplifying
Yeah.
experience that is incredibly powerful. It delivers emotions that you cannot get alone at home in front of your screen. It's just, can we keep theaters alive enough for the cyclical nature of entertainment to shift back where
Hmm.
people are willing to go to the theater on a semi-regular basis? That's the real question. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. One thing that he did say at the end, which would turn me into maybe a Seth MacFarlane girl, because he actually does have a lovely singing voice. Um, he wants to make an old style Hollywood musical.
Yes,
Seth,
Brigadoon,
I'm
right?
I'm Brigadoon, which is a really funny poll. Have you seen Brigadoon?
I have not seen Brigadoon.
It is a fever dream. I love watching it, but it is absolutely batshit bonkers. If you are a Schmigadoon fan out there, that's like kind of what they're playing on, which is a great show. But I would love a true kind of old style Hollywood musical. I don't know if it'll make any money, but I would go see it. So give it to me. Let's do it. Revive Brigadoon.
Maybe that'll be the one. That'll be the one, and we
That'll
get
be
to
the
go back
one.
to the 1950s, Sammy, and relive the
Everyone
glory
wants to go
years.
see a man go to a magical land in Scotland where Sid Charisse is there. That's what we all want.
For sure,
What we're all
for
dreaming
sure.
of.
I mean, especially if we could see it at the
Um,
Sphere.
no, don't put Brigadoon in the spear.
I don't think I
Please.
don't think Brigadoon has that kind of pull, Sammy. Don't worry.
Oh God. All right. All right. Let's move on. Talking about theaters, not talking about the Spear, but talking about Regal theaters. This article is from Bloomberg, and it's titled "Regal Theaters Bets Dude Perfect Can Be the Next Taylor Swift." That is like word salad to anyone who is not chronically online. But so Regal is releasing a doc kind of on their own about a YouTube group called Dude Perfect. Do you know who Dude Perfect is? Did you know before you read this at all?
I did, but
Okay.
mostly in reference to this movie that has been in production, and the Regal deal.
Oh, okay.
I would
Okay.
not call
I
myself a
had
Dude Perfect fan.
I had absolutely no idea. They have 61.4 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, they're like a comedy slash like stunt group. Like they all went to college together at A&M, and they do like tricks and stunts
So
and all
okay,
this other stuff.
yeah, well, let me
I
jump
watched
in
some
here.
videos and I was a little like lost. I won't lie.
Okay,
But
so Dude Perfect, for those of you who don't have a 12-year-old boy in your house, it's these guys that they've been best friends from college, and they basically have this incredibly performative style of male friendship.
yeah.
And it mostly consists of them doing trick shots of, bouncing a ping pong ball off of like 12 different surfaces to land inside of a cup,
Hmm.
and they've broken all these Guinness Book of World Records, like the longest basketball shot ever made, or like they throw a basketball off of like a 400-foot building and make it into a hoop below. And then of course, as soon as it goes into the hoop, they all like have this incredibly performative, like over the top reaction. It's the sort of like hijinks of Jackass combined with like the athletic performance of sports league, but all
Hmm.
packaged in a family values thing. Because the other thing about these guys is that they are super Christian, and they
Yeah.
give all their money to sort of Christian causes. And I think they even say on their website that their like primary goal is promoting Christian values. So they are also like very sort of, it's not overtly faith-based, but it's very sort of within the faith-based sphere. And their
Hmm.
promise to viewers is that they will always make family-friendly, family-first entertainment. No
Mm.
swearing, no real arguments, all for the glory of Christ, yada, yada, yada. So that's Dude
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, Regal is releasing this documentary. It's called Dude Perfect: The Hero
Oh,
Tour.
also, sorry, you already mentioned this, and they're Aggies, so they're a little
Yeah.
sis. All right.
Wow.
My dad went to
um,
A&M. Trust me.
you can say that. All right. So,
Yeah, I could say that. I could say
um,
that.
this documentary is going to follow them as they're on like a tour right now, the Hero Tour, I guess. So they're doing performances nationwide. So this doc is sort of, following that tour, and it's going to premiere on more than 800 screens across the US, UK, Western Europe, and Australia starting September 26th. So we've talked about kind of movie theaters looking for ways to sort of combat the declining interest in movies themselves. And the Taylor Swift reference in this is AMC did like a similar thing with the Eras tour. It was just kind of released through AMC and made a cajillion dollars. Not actually, but you know what I mean. It made a lot of money. Um, I don't think this will be that popular, but you know, YouTube channels have tried this before. This article mentions something called Ryan's World. Tried to do this with like a kids movie last year. They have almost 40 million subscribers on YouTube right now. I don't think it did that well. It made like less than a million worldwide on about a little under 1,300 screens. Um, this article is sort of betting that this will do better, but I'll be interested to see like who this actually brings out to the theater, because if they're sort of central focus is families. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, it takes a lot to get like a family out to the theater, right? Like, it's expensive. You got to wrangle everyone. If like a 5-year-old acts up in the middle of it, you might have to leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot to get people sort of out. And I'm not sure, you said 12-year-old boys. Is that like kind of their base demographic, you would say?
Yeah. It's like sort of
Yeah.
tween boys. They got like big like
Hmm.
tween. They have an energy that young boys find very compelling.
Okay.
They're full of japes. They're kind of like they're
What a
always
word.
like pranking each other,
Japin.
and yeah, they're real japesters, these
Yeah.
guys, but but family friendly. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's also, so look, the tour is already over, I believe. So it was only a 20
Okay.
city tour. The reason why they're doing the movie is because they only hit 20 cities. So if there's
Right.
50 major markets in the United States, they only hit 20 of them. And every show was sold out, and they were selling out like
Hmm.
major stadiums where they would do
Hmm.
their trick shots and stuff. So they felt that there was a pretty high demand for this type of, for their live show, and they wanted to, either they're trying to appeal to either people who didn't live in one of those major cities or couldn't get a ticket
Right.
because the shows were sold out, or to people who conceivably want to re-experience the Dude Perfect show
I mean,
on the
it's
big
like
screen.
literally the reason for the Eras tour, just on a much smaller scale, right? Like, couldn't get
Exactly.
a ticket, want to re-experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is all the brainchild of their social media chief, Andrew Yaffe, who came over from the
Mhm.
NBA to, I'm sorry, he's the CEO of Dude Perfect. He's the NBA's former social media strategist. And they brought him
Mhm.
in. They like poached him from the NBA to really try to elevate their brand. They recently raised $100 million in capital to invest in Dude Perfect and expand the brand. And they
Mhm.
hired Andrew to really head that effort and maximize profitability. So the movie's only going to be in theaters for 2 weeks. I can't
Yeah.
imagine that it costs very much because they don't. First of all, they didn't give us a budget. We have
Right.
no sort of internal budgetary response. But I'm sorry, we have no sort of internal budget numbers. But because they have their own built-in advertising machine through their massive YouTube channel, I can't imagine that their ad spend was really that high.
Mhm.
And with only a 2 week run theatrically, uh, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be really hard because it's like unless you know a 10 to 12-year-old boy with a birthday in that window, like
Right.
I don't know who's coming out. I don't know who's coming out to these films all at once.
Right. And I mean, I guess we'll just have to see because I do appreciate as long as like if there's a way to like keep movie theaters open or for them to like make more money so that like movies that I want to see can keep going to theaters, I'm all for it. Please guys,
What
like keep
what
trying.
pretty soon instead of Tom Cruise, Spielberg will be going up to Dude Perfect being like, "You're the ones who saved
You
cinema."
oh, or at least like saved the experience, I guess. I don't know. Like
You
again,
saved
like
cinema,
I
Dude Perfect. Yeah. And look, you know
but
what?
like
Also,
ugh,
there's a probably a huge degree to this, Sammy, that's also just like such a personal bias between the two of us. But
I
like
know. Yeah.
family-friendly Christian values entertainment fucking makes so much goddamn money and I just don't
It's true.
understand it because it's just nothing that
Yeah.
appeals to me. But
Right.
there it is. It'll probably
No,
crush.
that's
Who
right.
knows?
And again, like I don't want to go see the Christian movie. Not I'm not talking about them anymore, like the Christian family values entertainment, but if it keeps the movie theater alive so I can go see like weapons, great. Like you know what I mean?
Can you
Like that's
imagine
what I want.
can you imagine the sort of end of year box office totals where like in 2024 it was so depressing because we did our top 10 of the box office that year and every single
Mhm.
one was a piece of IP or a sequel,
Yeah.
and we get to
Mhm.
this one and it's like
It's
everything is
Dude
a piece of
Perfect.
IP but except for Dude Perfect. We're like, it was the
In
only
2 weeks.
original film.
Oh man. Oh man. That's crazy. Well, do you have anything else to say about Dude Perfect? I mean,
What more is there to
I'm
say? They're
so
perfect.
it's fascinating to me. They're perfect. It's fascinating to me though, just because like you're right. Like I have absolutely zero interest in this, and I'm not the key demographic, so that's fine. But I'm just like, wow, like 60 whatever what do they have 60.4 million subscribers 61.4 that's a lot that's insane like I mean hats off gentlemen I guess I don't know
Dude, perfect. They raised
dude
$100
perfect
million in capital. It's wild.
well I think that's all we got on the news front but have you been watching anything this week anything fun
I really have not. My
mm,
daughters moved on to 101 Dalmatians. I sort of half watched
okay
it, half did some work.
kind
I
of a
wouldn't really
kind of a
claim it as a
funly
watch.
animated movie it's a little like scrappy you know
It is a little scrappy.
yeah
It's got a real sort of like 60s vibe to it.
mm-hmm
But she loves the dogs. She loves the dogs. The
Of
dogs
course.
still
Yeah.
hit. Do- so yeah, but I'm not. Let me ask you this: if I watch maybe 30% of a movie while I'm scrolling on my computer and like doing other work, do I get to log that on Letterboxd?
No, I would say
I
no.
don't.
You
I don't
have to
think
at
so.
least you can watch it while you're on your computer, but I think you gotta make it through, like, the whole thing.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't do it.
Mhm.
I didn't do it. I just didn't feel right about it. So,
I think
uh,
that's fair. I appreciate
okay.
your integrity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I don't try to blow smoke. What about you? What have you been watching?
I've been in a real kind of old a Hollywood musical vibe, speaking of old Hollywood musicals. So I rewatched Gentlemen Prefer Blondes this weekend, which is a classic. So great. And I also watched a couple recently that I'm looking at my letterbox right now, which is why I keep looking to the side. But I watched a couple that I hadn't seen. One is called Wonder Man. It's from 1945. It stars Danny Kaye and Vera Ellen. And I watched it because I was fed on Instagram, and this happens to me all the time, a video of Vera Ellen. It's like famous dancer. Like I think Fred Astaire's like word about her was he loved dancing with her because she could literally do anything. Whatever you wanted to do, like she could fucking do it, you know? But it was a video of her tapping on point. Like there were little taps on the points of her shoes, and she was
What?
tapping on point. It was nuts. And so I was like, what the fuck is this from? And it turns out it's from a very strange 1945 musical, which is basically mostly an excuse for Danny Kaye to like do his weird Danny Kaye thing, you know? It was weird, but it was fun. And it was enjoyable watching her tap on point. I also watched Flower Drum Song, which is the first Hollywood, like big Hollywood movie with an all Asian cast, or primarily Asian cast. It's a Rodgers and Hammerstein stage musical that was then developed for the screen. It has some, some weird Orientalism in it, and it's not perfect by any means. It came out in 1961, but there's definitely some stuff to recommend, and the performances are really, really great.
Mm.
What else did I
Damn, you
watch
went deep.
recently? Oh,
Where are you finding? Where are you? Oh,
yeah.
oh, sorry, but where are you finding most of these titles? Like, do you have a preferred
So,
musical resource?
Amazon actually has quite a few of them free. Um, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes you have to rent, but both Flower Drum Song and Wonder Man are streaming on Amazon. Wonder Man looks kind of shitty. I don't think it's really Amazon's fault. Like I don't think that movie has ever been restored. Like I tried to
Yeah.
find like some better version of it, but basically everywhere you look, it's kind of grainy and it doesn't look that great. But Flower Drum Song looked awesome. It looked amazing. So Amazon has some streaming. You can also find some on Tubi. I'm pretty sure they've got some kind of old classics. But Amazon was where I watched those two specifically. Um,
Nice.
I also, sorry, I've been watching a lot. I had kind of a slow day yesterday, but I am listening to TCM's podcast about the making of Cleopatra, which is so fascinating. I would highly recommend. It's really great. So I turned on Cleopatra yesterday, which is 4 hours long. And
Yeah.
oh my God, what a slog. It's like not bad enough to be like, oh yeah, this was a disaster. Because when you listen to the behind the scenes stuff, you're like, what the fuck, guys? Like, come on. It's just like boring. And I can only imagine that is me and Cameron were talking about this yesterday, that like it cost them like so much money every time they shot anything, basically, that I have to assume Joe Mankiewicz was just like, please just stand there and say the line and don't fuck it up so we can move on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to imagine it was just like, there's no room for like any kind of play or trying to make any kind of interesting thing at all. It's a real slog. Looks cool, but real slog.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how those 60s spectacle movies are
Mm-hmm.
so often so incredibly dull.
Right.
I say
Yeah.
bring it to the Sphere. I think it'd be perfect for the
Cleopatra on the
Sphere.
Sphere.
Expand it out. Maybe that one they can take a knife to cut it down a little bit. But seeing her come in
I
on
mean,
that big sarcophagus,
it's
the
that is
Sphinx.
insane. That was insane on like my parents' like old large screen TV at my parents' house again. But like that was insane on that. I can't imagine what that must have been like seeing that in 1963. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's wild. I will say that about it. Like production design on point, as it well should be, because they spent a fucking fortune on it.
Have you seen Intolerance, the
No,
D.W.
I have
Griffith
not.
film?
Mm-mm.
Um, also incredibly long, mostly
Yeah.
boring. But when you get to the third of four parts, Right, and this is all, remember, this is the movie that he made after Birth of a Nation, which was
Mhm.
he's describing different forms of intolerance throughout history to prove that he's like
Mhm.
not a racist piece of shit.
Sure.
And he depicts, I can't even remember, I don't think it's Egypt. I think it's like in Mesopotamia or something. But
Mhm.
he's like the first Hollywood guy to do some sort of big like ancient sword and sandal procession with like thousands of extras like leading, it's
Right.
absolutely mind-blowing and crazy. But I always think Cleopatra was sort of like trying to one up intolerance in terms of like
Oh my gosh.
absolute
It must have
human
been.
spectacle.
It is a spectacle, I'll give it that. And, it's funny because sorry, I could talk about this for forever, but, like, I like all the actors in it, and I thought I was not gonna like Rex Harrison as Julius Caesar, but he's not bad.
Dude,
He's, like, got some, like, kind of warmth to him in a weird way, even
okay,
with all the bullshit.
Rex Harrison, terrible person, like
Great
absolutely
actor.
terrible.
Yeah,
So good of an actor. He
great
is.
actor. Listen, you're talking to a My Fair Lady stan over here, so
Oh, we
there's a lot of problems with
this
that
is something we
property.
have in common because I
Yeah.
fucking love My Fair Lady. Yeah,
So good.
so good. But Sexy Rexy is unstoppable. Like, but
God.
again, terrible person. Terrible
Yes.
person.
Absolute seems like an
Possibly a
absolute prick.
murderer. Possibly a
God.
murderer.
Yeah. Well, that's the second the producer, sorry, we can be done at this, but I just so the producer, what's his name? William Wanger? Walter Wanger found out
Walter
like
Wanger.
in
What a
Walter
name.
Wanger in the
That's not a
1950s
real
he like
name.
found out it's a real person. He found out that his wife who I believe was Joan Bennett, it was Joan Bennett at the time. Yes, actress Joan Bennett. Found out she was cheating on him with an agent, so he like followed them somewhere and then shot the agent in the groin. And then 10 years later produced Cleopatra. So, old Hollywood it was
Cool.
different. Things were different back then.
Dude, yeah. No doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh man.
For sure. Well, wow. This was a tour de force.
Lots of twists and turns.
We delivered on our promise of unloading the clip, and yeah, this has been great. Sammie, do you have any writing coming out this week that you'd like to direct folks to?
Sure thing. So I am actually, speaking of Spike, I'm seeing Highest to Lowest this week. His sort of revamp of High to Low. Perfect film. High to Low, that is. Um,
High
I'm
and
seeing that
low.
on Wednesday. I think it's one of those things where it's interesting because like it comes out on Friday, and normally I'd be like them showing it to us like 2 days before it comes out would suggest to me that the studio doesn't have a ton of confidence in it. I'm not saying anyone told me that. That's just what the like screening date suggests to me. But coming out of Cannes, it got like okay reviews from people that I trust. So I'm curious. I'm like curious about it. So that'll be out on Friday. We'll see what happens. But I'm probably gonna watch High and Low in the meantime. So that'll be fun. But
Yeah, it's gonna be mid. I can already tell you. Um,
you know what? Mid is better than bad. So we'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
I'm excited. I always I enjoy watching Denzel on a big screen. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, for
But
sure. For sure. Who doesn't?
yeah. Mhm.
That's exciting. Cool. Well, by the time this episode comes out, if you live in Athens, Georgia, and want to come see the Athens premiere of my feature film Withdrawal, we'll be opening. We're the opening film at the Athens Film Festival on Thursday, August 14th. And then we're having an encore screening on Sunday, August 17th, my birthday. So if you want to give me the best birthday present ever, you'd come see Withdrawal at 2 p.m. at Cine as part of the Athens Film Festival. That would be absolutely lovely. And of course, if you're in Macon, Georgia, we are also going to be playing at the Macon Film Festival the following Sunday on August 24th. And I believe that is at a bright and early 12:30 p.m. Perfect
Ooh.
time to see a movie
Matinee.
about two people struggling through a night of heroin withdrawal. And yeah, and it will be great. I would love to see you there. As always, guys, we're here. We're in our final few weeks here. If you want to show us some love, shoot us an email, crashzoompod@gmail.com. Just give us some love on social media at Crash Zoom Podcast on Instagram, on TikTok. We would love to hear from you. This episode has been so fun, Sammie, as always. And I look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.